Hello again everyone, welcome back to my channel and welcome back to another speed build video in The Sims 4. I hope you're all having the most amazing day ever so far and thank you so much for joining me here today. We're building in Brindleton Bay on this 30 by 20 lot and we are building a dream suburban family house which features 4 bedrooms and 2.5 bathrooms, and I designed it for a family of up to 6 Sims. Of course, if you have a larger family, this house will definitely be able to sleep pretty much 8 Sims if you sort of rejig some of the bedrooms around. But anyway, I absolutely love how this house turned out. I'll pop a reference image on the screen for you now. This is one that I found on Pinterest and I immediately fell in love with it when I saw it, and I just thought, that's it, this is what I'm building today. So this is what we're currently working on here. We're working on the exterior, trying to sort out the colour schemes, and I was pretty quick with deciding what I wanted, what colours I wanted to use, because if you remember the reference image that was on screen just a few seconds ago, I pretty much kept to the same colour scheme. I was very much inspired by not only the shape of the house this time, but also the colours that were used too, which is quite unusual for me. Usually when I build houses and use reference images on Pinterest, it's quite unusual for me to actually fall in love with the colour scheme that the image has and then recreate it in The Sims. Usually I'll sort of go off and do my own thing with colours and shapes and things like that, but I pretty much kept to the shape. I obviously took some creative liberties with the landscaping, and I also end up building like a separate exterior garage, which I don't tend to do with a lot of my houses, but this lot kind of begs for it because it's like a horizontal lot, and I didn't really know what else to put on the left hand side here. I didn't want to build like a huge house. This is definitely a big house, but it's not huge, you know, it's not a mansion or anything like that. I have built larger houses in the past, but yeah, I'm obsessed with this house. Please let me know what you think of this house down in the comments below. I love reading all your amazing comments, but yeah, I was just so excited to share this. I was initially going to post this up, like I was going to put it up on the channel, over the weekend, and I just decided, I was like, I'm too excited, I have to share this, and I have to share this now. Now, one thing you'll notice throughout the footage is I might save the game a couple of times just because, I don't know, I was so nervous to lose this house. My game has not crashed on me. I could not even tell you the last time, but for some reason I was like, I've got this feeling I cannot lose this house. So yeah, you'll see me saving a couple of times. Hopefully it's not too distracting for you. But yeah, as you can see, the outside has come together really nicely already, and then this is where we start working on the landscaping. I pull out my usual pieces from the debug menu from base game and also get together because they're just my go-to. I mean, what can I say? I think base game came with some really beautiful landscaping pieces, you know, the flowers, the trees, the bushes. There's just something about them, and I just adore the landscaping that came with base game. But also Get Together has my entire heart and soul. These trees, I think I use them in 99% of my builds at this point. But what can I say other than they're just perfect and I love using them. Also, if you did happen to hear my dog barking, you might have only heard it if you have your earphones in or your headphones on. I'm so sorry. My husband is looking after the dogs. When I do a voiceover, I'll always text him and be like, I'm just about to start a video, I'm doing my voiceover now, and he'll keep them quiet. But unfortunately, my little sausage dog is a little bit barky today, so I'm so sorry if you heard him barking. But yes, anyway, landscaping. So the landscaping for this, as I was saying, is quite no, it's not minimal, it's just simple. I think minimal is probably the wrong word to use. But what I end up doing is I also end up pulling out some of the debug flowers from Cottage Living, specifically like the ones that look like the red roses. I just thought the like hint of red kind of complemented the build, and I didn't have to add them. Like, looking at this footage here, I definitely could have just stopped where I am now. Like, I could have just called it quits here, but for some reason I was like, I just need to use these ones here that I'm pulling out now from the Cottage Living debug menu. I love them so much. I was initially thinking of using them in like the peachy cream colour, but I did decide that I think that would have made the build look a little bit too washed out. So yeah, I ended up using the red ones. I just think they add this really nice pop of colour. And then I do end up changing these bushes off camera to ones from the debug menu from Get Together. I just thought they worked a little bit better. They looked a little bit less manicured and a little bit less plasticky. And I can't remember if I changed this car. Yes, I do. I change it on camera. I change it out for the white one here again from Get Together. The debug menu in Get Together is just like, it's unmatched in my personal opinion. I don't realise how much of the items I actually use until I look back on the footage and I'm like, oh yeah, I use quite a few items from that pack, especially from debug. But anyway, yeah, the outside is coming together really nicely. I then decide, okay, do we want to add some more detailing here, or are we pretty much set with like the structure of the house? And I did decide that we were pretty much set with the structure of the house here. I didn't want anything overly complicated. What on earth was that word? I didn't want anything overly complicated. I'm so sorry. I can talk, I promise. Clearly not today. Anyway, yeah, so I can't even remember what I was saying. Anyway, here's the back garden. I actually end up decorating this at the beginning of the video. Usually with my back gardens, I will do them at the end of the video because they're usually my least favorite part of the build to actually decorate and sort of arrange and sort out. But for this one, I was like, ooh, okay, I'm feeling kind of inspired. And I think the reason for that was the actual garage area here. I was just like, yes, okay, yeah. So I ended up creating like this little area out here. There's plenty of activities for you and your Sims to enjoy in the back garden. We have a telescope so they can do some like stargazing and things like that. There's like a little what do you call it, a fire pit. There's a little fire pit that your Sims can sit round. There's a little bench that your Sims can sit on. There's some bikes. There's a basketball hoop as well, which I just love it. This is quintessentially American suburban. I think I've already said that at the beginning of the video, but yeah, that was all I was thinking when I was doing this house, was just typical American suburban, which is actually my favorite house type to build. I think I like building like British cottages. Being from the UK myself, there's something that just has my entire heart when it comes to British cottages, but I'm not necessarily very good at them. But yeah, I enjoy building them. I of course love doing the apartment renovations and things like that. But yeah, I don't know what it is. It's just something about it feels really homey to me, even though I've never actually lived in America myself. Something about it just feels super homey and like warming. I don't know what it is. Anyway, this is where we pull in some of the landscaping from the front and add it to the back garden, just to make everything flow really nicely and to make sure that everything sort of matches and nothing's too out of place or anything like that. I was initially considering not adding this to the footage of the build, but then I figured, I don't know, just try and keep in as much as possible for this video. This video is going to be, I think with screenshots, we're going to be looking at around 35-ish minutes. The footage of the house just alone is 32 minutes long. It feels like it's been so long since I've done a video that was this long, so I hope you have a nice beverage and you're snuggled up and you're going to hang out with me for the next half an hour. If you can't make it that far, I very much appreciate that as well. But yeah, I hope you're all snuggled up and you are ready, because these voiceovers tend to be a little bit rambly as well, but it's just me, it's just who I am. Anyway, the little back deck / porch area here, I didn't want to go too overboard with the decor pieces, so there's just like a table and chairs, there's a barbecue, and then there's one of the little chairs from the little campers kit, which I love those chairs so much. And then this is where we add like the gardening or the florist table or whatever it is, and then the little telescope as well. That table ends up moving into the garage, and then I add a bench on the outside. I do some rejigging both on and off camera, but we will talk about that when we get to the garage portion of the footage. But this is the interior. Initially, when I sort of got into the inside, I panicked just a little bit because I was thinking, ooh, this is unusual. Okay, let's try and work with this here. So as you can see, and then I can't remember, oh yes, I do go on the upper floor and figure out the floor plan for the upstairs too. I think because I've started doing this more and more. If you've seen any of my older videos, and I'm meaning maybe from a year ago. I'll tend to do the ground floor first, furnish it, and then go upstairs. But I think looking back, that's really not the best idea, because then you have no idea how much space, first of all, how much space you actually have in the house, and second of all, how many Sims can live in here. What sort of house is it going to be? Is it going to be a family house that's full of like kids clutter? Is there going to be toys everywhere? This house is not like that, by the way, and we'll talk about that in just a moment, but you've got to sort of decide that. But anyway, this is the living room. As I was saying, I've done family houses and apartments where I've just added like kids clutter and toys everywhere, and I love doing those houses. But this one, I kind of get the sense that the family's a little bit more house proud, and they don't necessarily enjoy having kids clutter and toys and everything everywhere. So they're very house proud. They like things clean and tidy. If this were a family in real life, they could potentially have someone come around to the house to help them with the cleaning, and just making sure that everything is kept as is. And it's kind of like an idyllic sort of family house. I love doing the houses where you can add kids clutter and stuff, but that's just not the vibe that I wanted to have with this house. The kids' rooms have toys everywhere, and everything like that, but the actual family spaces are just family spaces. It kind of looks like a show house a little bit, which I kind of like as well. I like doing different sort of styles. But anyway, yes, I do add these base game sofas from I think they're from the hidden menu. And then I add some of the cushions from the Modern Lux? The Modern Lux kit. I just think they work so well. And then, okay, I need to talk about the colour scheme in this room, because if you follow me on Twitter or Instagram or anything like that, I've been sharing, for the past week while I've been working on this build, I've been sharing some work in progress pictures, which I love doing. I absolutely love sharing them with you all. And I had I kind of had an idea that I had really thought about the colour scheme for this house. So hear me out. So the wooden flooring kind of matches the sofa, and then also the fireplace, and then the coffee table, and then the side table here. The green paneling matches the green in the rug. The dark navy blue curtains match the dark navy blue cushions on the sofas. And then can you see on the rug, you probably can't see right now because we're working on the dining space, but there's like little sort of diamonds of this turquoise colour that match the armchairs on either side. So like everything matches. Every single thing matches in this room, and I hadn't really given it much thought until someone pointed out on Twitter, and I was like, oh, you're right, I've outdone myself here. I'm not trying to toot my own horn for 1 second, but I am so proud of this interior. I'm obsessed. And I also love the fact that we had a big enough room where we could add a dining room table to the living space, because I've seen so many houses like this, and I think again it just adds that super cozy, family friendly vibe to the entire build, and I'm obsessed with it. I don't know what more I can say. I'm just obsessed. I'm absolutely obsessed. Your Sims can celebrate Winterfest here, they can celebrate birthdays, they can throw parties and things like that, and I just think it's the perfect family house. Or at least it is in my opinion. You'll have to let me know what you think in the comments down below. But yeah, I think this is kind of as close to perfect as a house is going to be. Anyway, now we move on to the hallway. This hallway is much bigger than my normal hallways. I'm going to call them normal hallways. And what I mean by that is hallways that I'll tend to do for my builds are much smaller than this. Much smaller. I posted a screenshot of a floor plan for one of my houses a little while ago on, I think it was Instagram, and someone commented and said, I love your houses, but you've always got to love this. I love your houses, but and they're not wrong in what they said, by the way. They're not wrong at all. They said, love your houses, but your hallways always scare me because you must walk in and the stairs are just literally there. As you walk in, the stairs are right there. And I was like, actually, that's a fair comment. That is an absolutely fair comment. So maybe that was in the back of my mind when I was doing this particular hallway. Who knows? It probably was. But yeah, this is a much more open hallway. As you can see to the right, we've got the living room. Right in front of you, that's where the kitchen is. We've got a small bathroom, a full bathroom to the left. And then the door right at the base of the stairs is actually a teen room, and that leads out onto the back garden. So essentially the hallway just branches out onto each of the rooms, and I don't think it could have been more sort of, I don't know, like, I don't want to use the word perfect again because I feel like I'm tooting my own horn. But anyway, so this is the kitchen. I do also feel like with this house, I was making some slightly different design choices than I would typically make. And I mean that in a really good way, because I think it's so easy to get in I don't want to call it a rut, but you get into like a routine with your builds and you use the same items, you use the same sofas, the same cabinets for your kitchens. And what I wanted with this house is I wanted to do something a little bit different in each of the rooms. So I think the kitchen is quite a good example of this. I wouldn't usually go for these counters from the Cool Kitchen Stuff Pack, but I did. I pair them with the cabinets from Parenthood because the cabinets from the Cool Kitchen Stuff Pack, I'm not a huge fan. I'm just not. So yeah, we use, and then obviously, the tiles that are on the floor are from Growing Together, which I've never used, particularly in this like turquoisey swatch. I just thought it kind of matched some of the colour scheme that's going on in the living room. I like when the downstairs, like communal, I call them like communal areas, like the family areas, kind of flow in terms of color scheme, because that's what I have in my own house. I admire people so much that can make it work in their house, and they've got like rooms have different color schemes and vibes. Like, how do you do that? Because I feel like when I moved into my house, I discussed this with my husband, and I was like, I feel like we need one main color, and in our house it's navy blue. Maybe I was influenced by my own house building this, who knows. And like, so our living room has a navy blue feature wall, our kitchen has the same navy blue cabinets, and then our bedroom has a navy blue feature wall as well. Like, we've just got this colour scheme running throughout the entire house. I love that. There's some people that might walk into my house and be like, well, that's kind of boring, but I actually personally like it, and that's what I tend to try and do in my Sims houses. Like, not in all of them, but I'll do it in some of them. Anyway, I'm ranting throughout the entire kitchen, and it's not my favourite room of the house, but I really like how it looks. When I was taking the screenshots for the end of the video, I was like, oh, this actually turned out pretty cute. I actually really like this. And I also add in this room a small breakfast table. So obviously the main dining space is in the living room, which I don't know how common that is, like particularly for American houses. I suppose it doesn't really matter, it's The Sims after all, but yeah, so we've got like the formal dining space there, and then I decided to add like a small breakfast table here, so maybe the kids can eat their breakfast here before they go to school or whatever. But I do only add 2 chairs. And the reason I do this is because obviously as you just saw in the footage there, I tried to add like a full-size table with 4 chairs, and it looked way too cramped, and I was like, okay, we can't do that. And then I also remembered, I was like, well, there's 2 bar stools there on the island, so that's okay. Like, it just seemed to work a lot better. So I was like, it doesn't really matter. If there's not enough space in here, of course, they can go and sit in the living room and eat their food or do whatever they want to do. So then I was like, okay, what do I add here? So I thought I'm going to use this side table from Cottage Living in this white swatch, because I thought it just fit in really well with the whole vibe. And then the artwork there is from, I think it's from Dream Home Decorator. Obviously, just to tie in some of the blues. The standing light is from Growing Together, and then I do swap this plant out for... Which one do I swap it out for? I know it's not this one because it looked way too dark. Which one did I swap it out for? Oh, okay. Clearly I was having trouble deciding what I wanted to put there, so I put a clock on the wall here. And oh yeah, I used this hanging plant from the Blooming Rooms kit. Of course I did. It feels like it's been a while since I've used that in a build, but someone's probably going to correct me and be like, yeah, you use that in your builds literally all the time. Anyways, this is the downstairs bathroom. This is the only bathroom you will see me decorating on camera, because I've talked about this on the channel before. If you've seen me decorate one bathroom in a build, you've seen them all. They tend to be pretty much identical, so I don't want to waste anyone's time. I don't really want to ramble through having to talk about a bathroom that you've pretty much already seen me decorate. So this comes together very, very quickly. I use the bath and shower combination from, I believe that's from Growing Together, and then the sink's also from Growing Together. I think the toilet is from Base Game, I believe. And then we move on to the teen room downstairs. I have never used this bed in this swatch. So I feel like I just thought this was a really good opportunity for me to use this here, and I love the colour scheme that we went for in this room. Again, I was taking the screenshots and I was just like, it looks so pretty. I'm obsessed with it. So my idea was that this is either a teen or this is like an older sim. Perhaps they're at university and maybe they just come home sporadically, maybe they live here full time. I'll let you decide that. You might not even want to keep this room as it is. You might want to completely change it up. That is entirely up to you. I was thinking when I was working on this house, I was like, what do I turn this room into? Because I kind of struggled a little bit. I was like, I mean, it could be a bedroom, but that is exactly what I decided to turn it into. And it's really funny because I actually could have turned the garage into a bedroom as well, which I feel like people would expect me to do. But haha, I threw a little spanner in the works there because it's like more of like a hangout area. It's pretty cool. It's like a cluttered garage, but there's plenty of things for your Sims to do in there. But of course, if you did want to turn that into a bedroom, and like I said at the beginning, if you want to fit 8 Sims in this house, you could definitely do that just by rejigging some stuff. Like, it really wouldn't take much at all. Anyway, this room is full of clutter, which I love doing with rooms anyway, but particularly with kids or teens rooms. I'm just like, yes, give me all the clutter, like bring it on. And I love experimenting with different color schemes, and I just, yeah, I adore this room. I genuinely love it, and I love the item combinations that we went for in here. I was thinking initially, I was like, ooh, I kind of want to use this TV from the Modern Looks kit, but I thought, oh, it's just a bit too fancy for what I'm wanting to go for. So I ended up switching out for this one from Base Game, which I just think it works a lot better. I just think it works a lot better in this room. And then it took me ages to try and figure out which plant I wanted to put there. And I think I end up changing it again, but I can't remember if I do it off camera or not. So we move on to this side of the bedroom, and again, just cluttering it up, adding some like little bits here. Maybe this Sim's super into fitness, because we do add some clutter pieces from the Everyday Clutter kit just to kind of tell a story. I've said this before and I'll say it again. I love telling stories within my Sims houses and builds. It's one of my favorite things to do. It's one of my favorite things to do of all time. But anyway, yeah, and then I end up adding this artwork on the wall again from the Modern Looks kit. That's the plant that we use. I just think, look how much better that looks compared to the other one. And then I put like this little cushion on this chair. I'm obsessed. Those cushions that came with the Modern Looks kit, that kit is worth it just for those cushions. I would like to say though, I would like to see more cushions added either to the base game. It'd be really nice to see a base game update where they give us more cushions like that, but then also with other packs as well, because the community's gone nuts for these cushions. I don't think I'm alone in thinking that like they're amazing. I use them all the time. I use them, and I can't be the only one. I just can't be. Anyway, that room's done. Really love it. And now we move on to the garage here. So this is what I was talking about. This is where I end up like putting is that the flower arranging table? Is that what that's called? But yeah, you can see one on the outside here, but do not worry. We end up removing that and adding a bench instead. I just can't remember if we did it on camera or if I did it off camera. I can't remember. I'm so sorry. But yeah, so I love how cluttered this garage space is. I'm just trying to pull out as many items as I possibly can. Again, trying to go for different choices and just trying to really make this house stand out from my other builds, because it's, as I was saying before, it's so easy to just get sort of wrapped up in your comfort zone, and every once in a while you got to push out of that and sort of like not test yourself, but just push those boundaries and try new things. So that's what I was doing with this house. I hope that's apparent and I'm not just making this up in my brain. Like I'm thinking, oh yeah, it's so different from all my other builds. And I hope you're not sitting there going, yeah, it's really not. It's like the same. I hope that's not the case. Anyway, so yeah, I also add the attic box here so that your Sims can add holiday decorations. I was just trying to cover all bases. And one thing I also add in this build is a stacked washer and dryer, but I know I did that off camera. So I add the stacked washer and dryer to the garage. I end up removing all this clutter in the top left-hand corner. I remove all of that and add the washer and dryer there. And then I believe, and now I'm going to be eating my words in a minute, I believe I add laundry baskets to all of the bedrooms. I believe. The only one I think I might not have done it with was the main bedroom. I know I added one. Did I add one in the teens room downstairs? If I did, I didn't add it on camera. If I didn't, I am so sorry. Genuinely so sorry. Anyway, yeah, so I feel like this room here has this super cool like garage hangout feel. I'm obsessed with it. I also think I removed the punching bag off camera as well because I was thinking it just looks a little bit too messy. This is where I add the bikes and remove the other flower arranging table and add a little bench. I think I had one from Jungle Adventure. Look how nice that looks. And then I put it on a bit of an angle just to make it look a little bit more, I don't know, like cozy and a little bit more realistic is probably the word that I would go with there. But yeah, this is the little fire pit with all of the chairs around it. I'm thinking like the kids can come out here and stargaze and roast marshmallows, and they can just like have a barbecue. It's just, yes, I'm obsessed. What can I say? I hope I'm not coming across as like, oh, like she loves her own build, surprise, surprise. But I'll never put up a build that I don't like, but this build, it's doing something to my heart. Like it's got a very special place in my heart, and I'm not entirely sure why. I just love it. I just absolutely adore this. This is where we move on to the upper floor. As you can see, we have decorated the bathrooms off camera, as I was explaining before, but the first room that we work on up here is the main bedroom. It's a very odd shape because I did want to give them their own ensuite. That was really important to me. If it's not really for you, then please feel free to remove the ensuite. Feel free to make any changes to this build that you so wish. You know that you are more than welcome to do so. But yeah, the rooms kind of small and an odd shape, so I don't know, it's fine for me. I feel like with main bedrooms, the parents probably don't spend too much time in here anyway, so yeah, it wasn't really too much of a big deal. But yeah, it's quite plainly decorated. We have gone for a different color scheme than what we've seen in the house historically, but that's okay. It's as I was saying at the beginning, it's okay for each room to have its own theme and sort of color scheme, but it sticks with the theme, but it has a completely different color scheme to like the downstairs. But that didn't really bother me, to be completely honest. So yeah, very plainly decorated. We do finish this up in just a moment, but I was like, okay, so there's some empty wall spaces here. What could I possibly add? I go through a few different options. Do I add a chair? Do I add a bookcase? I think I end up adding a bookcase. And then what do I add here? Just some artwork? Do I add something else? Oh, the laundry basket. Look, I did remember the laundry basket. Lucky for me. Anyway, then we move on to the nursery. So I envisioned an infant in here. So that was what I envisioned. This could very easily be a toddler room, a child's room. It could be a teen's room. It could be a guest room. It could be a room for the grandparents. Very versatile. But yeah, this is what I sort of had in mind for this particular family. I love the color scheme in here. It's really soft and pretty, and yeah, it's really nice. Again, quite an odd shape for a room, but it has everything that you could possibly want. The only thing I did not give this house was a tummy time playmat. And you could definitely add one. There's definitely space to do it, but probably not in this room. I didn't add one because I knew that it would be a very tight squeeze, and I didn't want this room to be like overly cluttered or decorated because it is such a small space, and I didn't want the space to look smaller. I didn't want your Sims to have any routing issues or anything like that. So yeah, this is what we ended up coming up with for this room. This wallpaper's from Base Game. I do add quite a few items from Base Game and Growing Together in this room just to sort of add some more detailing here and there. But yeah, I really like this room. It seems like it's been a while since I've done a nursery with this colour scheme, and also it seems to have been a while since I've done a separate nursery. I feel like for the last few houses that I've built, I've put the infant in with the parents in the main bedroom, which is fine. There's nothing wrong with that. But again, trying something a little bit different just to keep my interests right there and just to keep things super refreshing for you all. So this is the room pretty much done. We just add some toys and then this little toy basket here. And then we move on to the final bedroom. So there are 2 beds in here. I envisioned a set of twins in here, or possibly children that are very similar or very close in age. And I thought, I've been using bunk beds so much in twin bedrooms lately, so I want to use 2 separate beds this time around. I just really want to. And then I did show you my I'm going to do the Air Bunnies, quote unquote, the first attempt at the bedroom. It wasn't really a first attempt. I just kind of wanted to try and make the beds from Horse Ranch work, but I just couldn't for whatever reason. So I ended up pulling these beds out from Growing Together. Are these beds from Growing Together? I haven't used them in this swatch ever, but I do end up switching the swatch out. Wow, say that 10 times fast. I ended up switching the swatch out right at the end, actually, to the one with like the green and the yellow like triangles. I just thought it looked a little bit more fun and a little bit more colourful, a bit more youthful, and I thought it just fit in with the bedroom a bit better. So this room is long and skinny, which again proved to be a little bit difficult when decorating and cluttering up and making it look, I don't want to say realistic, but not making it look silly or overloaded. So I use a lot of items from Parenthood, Growing Together, Base Game, and I think that's it. I use a couple of items from High School Years, I think, as well, and this is the laundry basket in this room. So I did add a laundry basket to every single bedroom. The only one I'm questioning is that teen room on the ground floor. That's the only one I'm questioning. But anyway, yeah. So this room, again, sorry to go off on one, it proved a little bit difficult to sort of decorate the wall space. When I see wall space, I'm like, I have to clutter this up. I don't know what it is. It's just something that I do. But that is pretty much it for this video. That voiceover was easier than I thought. Anyway, thank you so much for staying with me this long, but if you would like to download this house from the gallery, my origin ID is RachelPedd. Tray files, as always, are linked down in the description box below. You can get them for free from Sim File Share, but thank you so much everyone for joining me here today. I really hope you enjoy this house. If you'd like to send me any screenshots of your gameplay on Instagram or Twitter, my user ID is RachelPedd. I cannot wait to hear what you think. You all take care, and I will see you next time I post a video. Bye!